Picture this: a grand stage, a dazzling spotlight, and performers twirling gracefully to the delight of the audience. But look closely, closer still. See how the strings stretch taut from their hands, their feet, even their minds, to the hands of unseen puppeteers above. Their movements, though elegant, are not their own. Their smiles, their bows, their every motion, dictated by forces they cannot control. Now, reflect on this. How many of us are like these marionettes? How often do we surrender our freedom, our purpose, and even our souls to the pursuit of wealth and the approval of others? This, the Stoics teach us, is the condition of most human beings. We are not free as we often believe. We are bound by invisible strings, our desires, our fears, our misguided attachments. We imagine that wealth will make us powerful and fame will make us immortal. But in truth, these things make us into slaves, puppets at the mercy of fortune, and worse, at the mercy of others' expectations. The Stoic path calls us to cut these strings, to recognize the illusions for what they are, and to reclaim the only freedom that matters: mastery over ourselves. The strings of wealth money is a tool, but for many, it becomes the master. The illusion is subtle, creeping in like a shadow at sunset. At first, we pursue wealth for security, to meet our basic needs. But soon, necessity gives way to greed, and contentment becomes an ever-receding horizon. The desire for more is insatiable, a fire that grows stronger the more it is fed. We hoard and hustle, not realizing that each new acquisition tightens the strings that bind us. Consider this: how often does the pursuit of money drive us to compromise our principles? How many friendships, moments of joy, or nights of peaceful rest have been sacrificed on the altar of wealth? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us that the more possessions we have, the more we stand to lose, and with loss comes fear. The wealthy man does not truly own his riches own him. His life is spent guarding them, expanding them, fearing their disappearance. He is not free, but imprisoned by his own desires. The Stoics call us to re-examine our relationship with wealth. They do not condemn money itself. It is neither good nor bad, merely indifferent. What matters is how we use it, and whether we allow it to control us. The wise person recognizes that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in self-sufficiency, in the ability to be content with little. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, wrote Seneca, but in having few wants. The strings of fame. If wealth enslaves us to material things, fame enslaves us to the opinions of others. The craving for recognition, admiration, and applause is another string that binds us, pulling us further from our true selves. To seek fame is to place your self-worth in the hands of strangers who neither know you nor truly care for you. It is to trade the peace of your soul for the fleeting approval of the crowd. The crowd is a fickle master. Its favor is fleeting, its judgment shallow. Today, they cheer. Tomorrow, they jeer. The famous man becomes a puppet, performing endlessly to maintain his status, his image, his relevance. He cannot afford to be authentic, for authenticity risks rejection. He cannot afford to rest, for fame demands constant effort. In striving to gain the world's approval, he loses himself. The Stoic approach to fame is simple: disregard it. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor with the weight of fame thrust upon him, reminded himself daily that the admiration of others is meaningless. Fame, he wrote, is but an empty, hollow thing, a noise made by others. True greatness lies not in being praised by others, but in living virtuously, regardless of whether anyone notices. A virtuous act is no less valuable if performed in solitude than in the public eye. The Stoic path to freedom, to live as a puppet, is to be pulled by forces outside your control, the whims of fortune, the judgments of others, the endless desires that lead nowhere. But the Stoics offer an alternative, a life of true freedom. This freedom is not found in wealth or fame, nor in any external thing. It is found within, in the cultivation of virtue and the mastery of one's own mind. The Stoics teach us to distinguish between what is within our power and what is not. Wealth, fame, and the opinions of others are beyond our control. They are part of the external world, subject to the unpredictable tides of fortune. What is within our power, however, is how we respond to these things. We cannot control whether we are wealthy or famous, but we can control whether we let these things rule us. We cannot control the applause or criticism of the crowd, but we can control whether we base our happiness on their noise. To live as a Stoic is to cut the strings. It is to reclaim your sovereignty, to act in accordance with reason and virtue rather than the demands of wealth or the approval of others. It is to understand that true happiness comes not from external possessions or recognition, but from the peace of a disciplined and virtuous mind. Severing the strings. So, I ask you, whose puppet are you? Are you pulled by the desire for wealth, by the need for approval, by the fear of losing what you have or not gaining what you want? Or will you take up the Stoic challenge and sever these strings? Will you choose freedom over servitude, wisdom over illusion, and virtue over vanity? The choice is yours, as it is for all of us. Remember, the puppet cannot cut its own strings, but you can. You're not bound unless you allow yourself to be bound. Wealth and fame have no power over you unless you give it to them. If you seek to walk the path of freedom, of wisdom, of virtue, I invite you to follow my channel. Together, we can explore these timeless teachings and apply them to our modern lives, cutting the strings one by one until we stand firm, unshaken, and free.